we are finally at the end of our 4-week meal plan, and I have a 20, a 5, and about 14 ones. So a little less than $40 left over. I wasn't perfect this month, but I did learn a lot of lessons, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to share all of the recipes and the meal plan for the final week down in the description box and the first pinned comment. So make sure that you search down below for all of those recipes. But what I really want to talk to you today about is all of the lessons that I learned while I was going through this month-long meal plan on a $400 budget. I don't know if this has been a helpful exercise for you or not. I really hope it has, but I can for sure tell you that it has helped me get a rein in on my extra spending, be more focused and intentional on the groceries that I purchase. Although it hasn't been perfect, I am definitely further down the road today than I was at the beginning of the month, and I'm excited to share all of the lessons that I've learned with you today. So let's dive in and talk about the 12 most important lessons I've learned by trying to stick to a $400 cash budget to feed my family this month. Well, we are finally to the end of our 4-week meal plan. I have learned so much this month about grocery budgeting and all of the advantages, and I wanted to go over some of the things that I have discovered during this month, and I would love to hear all of your success stories and ideas about things that you have learned throughout this process as well. So many of you have joined along with me and have followed the meal plan. I do have a little bit of a confession to make. My family has a lot of say in our meals and in what we do as far as mealtime. So I'm sorry to say that I have not 100% followed this meal plan. We have gone out to eat several times, and I can tell you that the agony that I go through whenever I know how much I'm paying to eat out versus what I can create a meal for at home really hurts my heart. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I just want you to know that I did do the best I could, but I didn't follow it 100%. It's really hard to go through and follow a schedule 100% all month long. So I failed in that part of the experiment, but I did gain a lot from this experiment this month. So that's what I want to go through today. I want to talk to you about a lot of the lessons that I've learned during this month and some things that I think I will do to improve it in the future. Also, I would love to hear all of the things that you would do differently in terms of the meals that I had planned for this month, and also maybe some grocery shopping tips. If you have any of those, please leave them down below. I think I should make like a compilation video of all of the lessons that we can learn from grocery shopping on a budget. There's a lot. So with all that being said, let's go over some of the things that I have learned this month that I'm going to take with me on the rest of my journey. Number one, cash really does make a difference. So I started with $400 cash. I have about $35 left over. So I did come in under budget, but again, we didn't use this for every single meal throughout the month. So I probably would have gone a little over if we hadn't done that. But with all things being equal, this cash system really made a difference for me. It was like a boundary that I really needed, and it gave me permission to say no to things that I really felt like I needed to say no to, while still allowing me enough of a budget to say yes to the things that were important. I really feel like moving forward, I'm going to go the extra effort and use cash at least most of the time. Now, whenever I do a Walmart delivery order, I find that to be very helpful and even a good money saver. So I probably will allow $50 or $100 a month in that category so that I can still have some electronic debits also for my grocery bill. But for the most part, I think it's better for me personally to use cash. I am disciplined to a point, and then I sort of lose discipline if I lose interest or if something goes longer and longer, like 30 days is a long time for me. So I lose a lot of my stamina mid-month, and this cash system really helped me to stay on track. Also, I think it's really good to have an accountability partner. You served as that accountability partner for me this month, and I really feel like me knowing that I was accountable to you for what I was spending my money on, that I was going to have to give you a report later, that really helps me. It's very easy for me to just say, well, I can justify this purchase. Nobody will care. It won't make much of a difference. But those little purchases that I make outside of the budget really do add up throughout the month, and I see that how beneficial it is to sort of have an accountability partner. So I think that is another thing that I've really learned this month, making sure that I tell somebody that I'm on a budget, and that somebody, could be my husband, my older children, or you as my YouTube friend. But somebody knowing that I'm on a budget and I'm trying to stick to it, I think if they check in with me several times a month, I think that will really help me to stick to my budget plan. And sort of as a secondary point about being on budget with a cash system, I think if I'm going to go through and do this on a regular basis, I need to bump up the budget maybe to $550 or $600. That's still a pretty conservative budget, but it's not so thin and tight that I get stressed out at the end of the month. So I think probably a $600 budget is well below what I normally would spend, but it's very, very doable and still allows an abundance for extras, snacks, and other things that the kids might ask for or that Chris and I might want throughout the month. So that allows for extra spending for things that I find are important, but couldn't really stick into a $400 meal plan. I think a $600 grocery budget for me would work a lot better. It's still less than $5 per person per day. While that sounds like it might be a lot, it really isn't when you think about 3 meals plus all of our drinks plus all of our snacks. And if you want to eat healthy, it's going to be a little bit more than, just eating the cheapest food possible. We like to have a lot of fresh produce. We buy a lot of fruit. And so giving us that extra little bit of cushion, I think would go a long way in being successful long term. I've also learned the huge value of having a food surplus in my home. I had a lot of the things that we used in this month's meal plan in the freezer and in the pantry. I didn't have to go and buy every single thing and source every single item, ingredient. And so that made a big difference in the way that this month's meal plan worked. That's another reason that I feel like I probably need a little bit of a buffer. I don't think I would have been able to have a successful meal plan if I wasn't able to have a surplus already. I really gathered a lot of my ingredients from my pantry and my freezer. And so that's another reason why I think it's important to have a little bit of a cushion in our budget each month, and that is so that we can take advantage when we see markdowns at the store. I am a hawk about finding the markdowns. I look for them every time I am at the grocery store. Long term, for us to be able to feed our family good, healthy food for less, it's really important for us to be able to have that back stash of food already available. Made a big difference this month. Another thing I learned this month is you really pay for convenience. I said before, we didn't stick to this meal plan 100%. Maybe one day we will be able to, but it wasn't this month. And one thing that I realized is the value that I can contribute to my family just by providing healthy, nourishing homemade meals. If you go to a restaurant, depending on what restaurant you go to, like we can go to a local restaurant around here and spend maybe $27 to $28 for all of us to eat, or there's places where we can spend $70 for us to eat a meal out. Like that hurts my heart every time it happens. I like to eat out. I enjoy going out to eat. I enjoy somebody else doing all of the work. But then when you see the bill and you think, what could I have done with all of this money? It just makes me want to go to the extra effort of providing all of our meals from my kitchen. I'm not judging anybody because I've got a lot of work to do as far as making all of my meals at home, and I'm going to work on that. But that is something that is very eye-opening when you think about how much you spend for the convenience of eating out. I also learned that you can be very creative in repurposing your leftovers, and you can make really good meals that your family barely even recognizes. So a lot of times I was able to use our leftovers this month to create things that were secondary meals. I can make a larger amount of an entree, like a roast or a different kind of meat, maybe extra chicken, and then I'd save myself a lot of time not having to prepare that entree a second time and repurposing the meat for a different kind of meal. It's really nice, really helpful to be able to do that. When you have a family and you've got a lot going on, especially in the evenings, it is so nice to have dinner on the table in 15 minutes or less, and that was really possible on a lot of these meals that I had planned for this month's meal plan. So repurposing different kinds of meats or entrees or ingredients, leftovers in general, is really a good way to keep having variety in your meal plan without having to do double and triple the work. I also learned how possible it is to have variety and nutrition and easy meals even on a budget. A lot of the meals that I had prepared or planned to prepare this month were 30 minutes or less per meal. I'm just not one of those moms who's going to take an hour and a half for a meal. That is a hard pass for me. I do not have time to devote 2 hours to dinner time and do all of the things in the evening and get into bed before midnight. I just don't have that time or that energy to devote to mealtime. So having nutritious and healthy meals that are also easy to prepare, that's really important to me. And I realized this month that even on a pretty tight budget, it's still possible to do that. You do not have to reinvent the wheel every day. You can feel good about feeding your family sandwiches and spaghetti, other easy meals that are really quick to prepare, but also very nutritious and very healthy. To just quit the mom guilt, even if we only have 10 minutes, let's just take that 10 minutes, do the best that we can, and give ourselves a pat on the back for trying our best and providing good food for our family. Also, I really think that having a membership to something like Sam's or Costco is definitely well worth it. If you have a Sam's Club or a Costco in your area, I really suggest that you look into a membership. I'll try to find a couple of discounted membership and link them down below. I have seen them recently for $20 or $25 at Sam's Club for an entire year. You can make that back in one trip. So they have really good meat at both of those stores. I will say that Sam's seems to be a little bit more affordable in the options that they provide, and then Costco seems to be a little more focused on nutrition. So you can find a lot more organic items that are cheaper than you can find at Walmart, at Costco, but you can find a lot of good, healthy, everyday ingredients at Sam's Club that really are worth your time. I just really think that a membership to Sam's or Costco will well pay for itself in just a couple of trips. And even if you have to pay the full price for the membership, it is well worth it. There are a lot of benefits, and I think you can even get free shipping from both Costco and Sam's if you don't have one in your area. It's obviously not going to work for cold things like meats, but even if you don't have one in your area, it might be worth looking into just for those pantry items that you can source that way a lot cheaper than you can at Aldi or Walmart. Another thing that I learned this month was a budget really helped me to prioritize needs over wants. I was able to have this boundary system in my mind already. So if I saw something at the grocery store and it looked really good and it was something that I might really want or might really enjoy, I already had that boundary created. I had so much that I could spend and I couldn't go over. So that incentivized me to really focus on what I needed and to leave out the things that I didn't need. Sometimes we're going to have extras. Sometimes we're going to want that extra bottle of whatever drink it is that we like. For me, it's a kombucha. For you, it may be a Diet Coke. But those things are sometimes just perfectly fine to throw into the buggy and add the $2 or $3 to the grocery budget. But if we do that several times a week, that's really going to hinder us being able to be on a strict budget. So this cash system and this meal plan already set out for me made it easier for me to say no to myself on things that I really did not need, and also made it easier for me to say no to my kids when they asked for things that they really didn't need. But it also allowed me to say yes to the things that were important and were valuable. Also, this month-long meal plan showed me just how helpful it is to have all of the things planned out in advance. A month is a really long time. Even if we could have a weekly meal plan, we just sat down 30 minutes every Saturday or every Sunday, and we devoted that time to creating a meal plan and sticking to that meal plan, creating our grocery list, going and getting the groceries early in the week so that we don't have to make an excuse to go out to eat, and then sticking to that meal plan as much as we can. That advanced planning really saves a lot of stress, it saves a lot of time, and it saves a lot of money. At this point in my life, I don't need anything else to stress me out or anything else to have to think about a lot. So if I can go ahead and just put some concentrated effort into my meal plan at the beginning of the week or at the beginning of the month, and not have to think about it anymore, that to me is a total win and worth all of the effort that it entails. Another thing that really popped out at me this month was healthier options are possible to fit into a thinner budget, but you really have to learn how to make them yourselves, which is not a problem for me. I enjoy making things myself. I enjoy learning how to create homemade alternatives for store-bought ingredients. That's something that I really enjoy doing. But it's really important, if we're going to stick to a tight budget, for us to learn to do as much of that as we can. That will just allow us to save so much more. Things like barbecue sauce, ranch dressing, pancake mix. These are things that sometimes I buy because I don't want to go to the effort of making them, but I really need to go to the extra effort of making them at home. They will be healthier and they will be so much cheaper. And the last thing I wanted to mention was the value of paying attention to sale prices. This month, I was really able to take advantage of a lot of sales at Aldi. They had so many good sales this month. Also, Walmart is lowering prices on a lot of different ingredients. Going to even a more expensive store like Publix in my area and buying the buy one get one free items or only buying the sale items really saves so much money. I can really overspend if I'm not paying attention to the price of every single item that I throw into the buggy. And so it's really important for me to stay focused, take the time to look up the sale flyers of all of the stores that I might go to, and just really focus on those particular items that I know are going to be on sale, and steering away from the more expensive items. If you just choose your stores wisely, you can save at least 25% on your groceries by doing nothing else. Just choosing a store that's going to be more affordable is a great way for us to save as much money as possible while still getting all of that good, healthy, nutritious ingredients that we need for a month-long meal plan. Well, I hope that this month-long meal plan has been helpful to you. I hope that it was something that benefited you and your family by helping you save a little bit or maybe a lot of money this month on groceries. I know it really did help me. It was a good reset for me. I need that every now and again, and I was excited to have that reset this month. Thank you so much for coming along with me during this journey. I would love to hear all of the things that you learned this month while doing this meal plan, or the things that you do differently that really saves you a lot of money. If you have found this series helpful, I hope that you will give this video a like. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I hope that you will do that now as well. I have been really happy to have new subscribers each and every week. I hope that you will join the Homemade Simple community as well. We will be very happy to have you. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.